My goal is to make the best video essay about Morgan Wallen that has ever been made. Despite the fact I'm an East Coast leftist elitist with a doctorate in 17th century French literature, despite the fact that I mostly talk about hip hop and rap on this channel, and especially despite the fact that the first time I ever listened to Morgan Wallen was last week. Why do I have such high hopes for this video? Because it's going to be a video for the lovers and the haters. If you're a hater, you're going to be along with me with kind of pointing and laughing at many aspects of this project. But also, if you're a lover, you're going to discover that I actually think he's really good. that even though I came in highly skeptical, fairly cynical, I left with great admiration for his songcraft and for this album. What I'm going to do is I'm going to focus especially on one song, which is called, get this, Skoal, Chevy, and Browning. That's the three brands is the name of the song. And I'm going to tear it apart limb from limb, okay? But also, when you actually listen to this very well constructed song, I'm going to be emphasizing why it is actually pretty good. How despite the fake, deep, corporate sloganeering that masquerades as old country wisdom, he is speaking to a real social problem that does need to be addressed. In general, I want to focus on why is he number one? Why is Morgan Wallen number one? Why is he the biggest artist in the country? And I think the answer is probably that he's just great. I think that's probably it. I think his songs are well written. I think his voice is charismatic. I think he's got great personality. I think he's got hooky production. I think it's largely tastefully produced. I think it's fair to say this is probably the best pop country that I've ever heard. So I don't edit my videos. You might not know that about me. So this is weird that I'm popping in later and that there's any cuts at all in my video. But this is the deal. I went on and I talked about this entire album, all 37 tracks. I had a whole little introduction where I talked about why this album is great, why modern country is problematic, its ties to white supremacy and fascism. I talked about Garth Brooks and coastal elitism, Saturday Night Live, the N-word controversy. I talked about Theo Von in some great detail. I talked about fascism. I really went all in, and it was good. And I uploaded the whole thing. So if you want to watch the whole video uncut, you can click up there and you can watch it, or I'll include it in the description. It's actually in two different parts because it's over an hour long. But maybe you want just the good part where I talk about Skoal, Chevrolet, and Browning. So let's just get to that. And if you want to see the full thing, it's up there online. Maybe you'll find it interesting. It's pretty funny. If I remember correctly, it was a pretty good video. But let's keep this to a quick 25 minutes. But you came here for me to discuss the song Skoal, Chevy, and Browning. Musically, it's nice song. Kind of a downbeat moment on the album, nice faraway sound, acoustic guitar, very strong pedal steel on here. I like his singing here, accented phrasing. He's kind of speak singing, but the chorus comes in with these faraway drums, with these brushes. The song's filled with these quiet moments that fits the themes of the song. And if you didn't speak English, you'd really enjoy the mysterious setting. It does feel meaningful and deep. With like even little, I swear to God, I hear just like one guitar note, just like, bah. I don't know. But it's the cringe that drew me to this song. It's the cringe of this title. So I'm going to talk about this incredibly cringe chorus while also admitting to the fact that there's some very rich and important storytelling in the verse. Here's the chorus. If you are going to be a friend like Skoal. Bing! Smokeless tobacco. Skoal. If you're going to be a friend like Skoal, always there in a pinch. It's because you pinch Skoal from a container. What's up, dippers? Yeah, I know how to do the dip thing. Now, you want to know why? Because I went to a private middle school for 2 years. And I went back to public school in high school, but I went to a private middle school for 2 years. And in 8th grade, I was on the baseball team, and every single kid dipped. And they would do that to indicate, because that's how you pack a dip. That's how you pack a dip container. And my coach gave dip to all of the players. My coach, adult, gave a bunch of 11-year-olds dip. And I didn't accept it, and he made fun of me. He would make fun of me relentlessly. He targeted me and bullied me the entire season because I would not get addicted to smokeless tobacco as an 11-year-old. You know, there's an important moment now that I think about it. Because looking back at it, you know, I was like an attendee of a private school, so I was in a position of privilege, and here was like just some part-time baseball coach for a middle school, right? And like he was torturing me, and he was a terrible person. But also, I understand there might have been some kind of like class resentment, or I don't know what. But at one point, he said to me, he said, "You know, I can give you detention." And I was 11 years old, cold-hearted. I daggered him. I just go, "I bet that's the highlight of your entire life." Oh, now listen, I was right because I was being bullied by a teacher, right? He deserved to be cut down. But also, that's probably how he felt. That's probably how he felt the whole world was looking at him. That was kind of the entire problem of the coast versus the deep America resentment that we have going right now. That kind of thing, you know, like the contempt that is shown to so many people in our country by the elite. Sometimes it's earned, but that doesn't mean that it should still be expressed. Anyways, I don't remember the name of that coach, but wherever you are, man, I hope you quit, because smokeless tobacco kills 250,000 people a year, and it's absolutely a signifier. It is a signifier of, of somebody who isn't particularly thinking about the future, somebody who isn't particularly interested in being in acceptable company because it's seen as being very gross, and it's just a company, man. It's just a company. Skoal is just a company. They got board. They got shareholders and everything. They got their headquarters. I think their headquarters is Richmond, but they're all over the world. They own cigarette brands. They own everything. So all right, be a friend like Skoal, always there in a pinch. If you're going to love a woman, you gotta love her like a Chevy, buddy. Steady like a rock. Really? Steady like a rock. He's making reference to the Chevrolet advertisements from 1991 to 2003, using the song Like a Rock by Bob Seger. And the song itself was from 1986. I used to hate Bob Seger, and then I got unstupid. Bob Seger is awesome. God damn. You can never listen to Bob Seger's greatest hits. Do yourself a favor. It's really good. It's really good stuff. I'm a Ford guy. You know, I used to have a Lightning. That's true. That's true. I had a Lightning. So if you're sitting here thinking I'm some kind of weird, I'm a weirdo. I had a Lightning. An old one. Not these new ones. Not these new electric ones. An old one. Okay? We're talking when you put the pedal to the metal, you could see the fuel meter going down in real time. Anyways, look at it. Like, what is this? Like, oh my God. Like using a slogan for Chevrolet, and there's a lot of other Chevrolet references on this album, so I think he's sponsored. I think this is a sponsored post, everybody. I think we need to have that marked, sponsored post by Chevrolet. And I have to admit something. This whole video is partly inspired by Pat Finnerty, who's been trying to get Like a Rock reinstated as the Chevrolet theme song for the past month. And I saw his video where he listened to this song and he just had a white flag up. And I thought it was funny, but then I got mad at that whole, like, so you don't have to. I'm like, what if I took the song really seriously? And I'm going to get to the part where it's actually a good song, but we have to get through this absolute horse hockey chorus. If something's on your mind, you got something to say, do it like Browning, try and shoot him straight. Browning is a rifle company, and let me tell you, it's as American as Budweiser. By that, I mean it's owned by the fucking Belgians, okay? Okay, Middle America, would you please stop seeing how played you are? I mean, would you start seeing how played you are? They're owned by the Belgians, okay? Budweiser is not an American beer. It is a beer made in America by a Belgian company. Browning is... Anyway, that's fine, right? But it's like if we're trying to get to some kind of down-home Americana thing, this is the truth. Like, this is the truth. We get to the end. Hell, just look around you. Skoal, Chevy, and Browning. It's totally vapid. And vapid, depending on how you pronounce that word. It's just like shoot straight like a Browning. Like, this is not deep at all. This is just communicating through ad slogans. I wrote a country song. Are you ready? It's called Verizon, Burger King, Allstate, Little Caesars. Can you hear me now like Verizon? Get it your way like Burger King. I hold you in good hands like Allstate. Gonna give you a pizza, my heart like Little Caesars Pizza Company. Right? Is that a good song? No? Is that art? Is that deep? Saying I'm gonna have you in good hands like Allstate? But what if I told you? What if I told you? This song is actually kind of amazing. What if I told you? The verse makes it clear that this chorus might actually be satire. Oh, satire. It might be satire. What if I told you this is actually about the crisis of patriarchy? What if I told you this is a story of how the ridiculous ideal of a stoic, rugged, individualistic man in masculinity leads to broken families, misery, and an unending cycle of poverty? What if I told you that's what this song was actually about? What if I told you this song is about how men are in trouble, how they have been in trouble, and how they are never going to get out? They're never going to get out of that rut. All right, let's go through the verses. Verse 1. He was old school as hunting in a flannel. If you watch Theo Von, you see he really is a hunter. Hunting makes a lot of sense to me. Seems like a good hobby. Seems like a good pastime. I wish there was a way to support hunting without also supporting the NRA. Because the NRA used to be actually a pretty good organization that was about like helping like gun owners and hunters, and now it's just a weird political wing of just ghouls, right? But still, you know, I'm not opposed to hunting. I wouldn't want to do it because like I don't think I could handle killing an animal, but I don't think it's wrong that other people do it, right? So like, okay, there you go. Hunting in a flannel. Why is he saying that? Because like most people now, they don't wear flannels. Like they wear some kind of camouflage, and they have to wear the orange reflective vest so they don't get chained, you know. And so the idea of just like hunting in a flannel, that's just a very rugged image of just going out with a rifle and just walking out into the woods. Took me with him slap middle of the rut, right? So in the middle of like the hunting grounds. I was trying to get me one for the mantle. He was trying to fill the Frigidaire up. So here we have an actual generational divide where he, the narrator of the song, we'll call him Morgan, is trying to kill a deer. Just, you know, he's wearing his full gear and he's trying to get a deer to put up on his mantle to show off who he is and how tough he is. Whereas this older man, who hasn't been named yet, this older man is trying to get food for his Frigidaire. This is showing the generational weakness of the American man. He's trying to trophy hunt. He's not trying to eat. This is this kind of weird idealization of the older generation when men used to be men. And it's certainly possible to read this whole story as glorification of when men used to be men, which is a term that means nothing, by the way. It feels like it means something, but it doesn't mean anything. Men have always been men, and men have never been men. That's just, we're human beings. Anyways, we met back at his C10 custom. So Morgan went hunting, old man went hunting. He was waiting with a doe and a beer. So he successfully killed a deer, and he's got a beer. Hey, look at that. He didn't rhyme deer and beer. He said doe and a beer. That's nice. I said I could have killed a dozen of them. He said, hell, why ain't one here? So the younger kid, he's filled with kind of a sense of insecurity. He sees this older man who succeeded in this task, who is this rugged, individualistic, self-supportive, don't need nobody, don't need nothing, no fancy, no buyer, no how. And meanwhile, he's there with his perfectly weighted rifle and his little pedicure, manicure, his Morgan Wallen listening ass is sitting there and saying, I could have killed a dozen of them. And then the old man's just calling him out, saying, why isn't he here? He puts him in his place. Do you see how this is not actually trash right here? Do you see this is actually pretty good storytelling about this kind of weird crisis of masculinity? Do you see that? It's really cool. I'm right there. I'm in the rut. I'm right there somewhere in Tennessee with these two guys. Like, I'm kind of laughing at Morgan in this song because this older guy is clearly kind of sunning him, right? And then extraordinary storytelling. He told me hold the light, pulled out a buck knife. So hold the light. So it's like it's at night. They must have been hunting all day. And now he has to hold the light while watching his uncle skin the deer. You know, he's not going to some kind of fancy deer dresser. He's actually going to do it himself. We talked about life when I held the left leg. So amazing details, very provocative, holding on to the left leg of a dead deer while a guy has a buck knife and he's skinning it and treating it properly so that he can get the meat that he needs to fill up his Frigidaire. Went from girls to God, politics, and dogs. So just talking about everything, talking about life. I said I'd been lost. So Uncle Joe said, now he has a name, Uncle Joe. It's Uncle Joe and Morgan, and we have one line of dialogue. One line of dialogue from Morgan, and he just says, I've been lost. So that's the context of this chorus. This chorus is not Morgan talking to you. This is not Morgan putting forth these ridiculous corporate taglines, okay? He's trying to give advice. It is an uncle trying to give advice to his nephew. I've got nephews. I love my nephews. I got nieces. I love my nieces, right? It's actually a heartwarming moment in a way, because here's this uncle trying to give advice on how to be a man to his nephew. Second verse. Uncle Joe continues. That's some shit I should have told your cousin before he got caught up in that mess. Wherever he is, I hope he knows I love him. I hate to see you be next. He's abandoned his boy. He's abandoned his boy. That's what's happening. Uncle Joe is a bad father, everybody. Uncle Joe should have said that to his son. Uncle Joe is explaining to his nephew how his own son has failed, and he's trying to save his brother's kid. Wherever he is, I hope he knows I love him. I hate to see you be next. This is the tragedy of the song. Why did Uncle Joe fail his son? Because all of this emotional, all this stoicism and this ruggedness is failure. He is emotionally stunted. He has abandoned his boy. All right? He failed as a father to even give this piece of advice to be like chewing tobacco, a truck, and a rifle. His best advice that he could have possibly given from a lifetime of rugged individuality and stoicism is trite nothingness. Be a pinch. Be a rock. Your suggestion on how to be good in a relationship is to be a rock? That's not good advice. If you're out there and you're trying to be in a good relationship, don't be like a rock. Don't, even if it's like steady like a rock. No, rocks just sit there. Be compassionate. Okay? Shoot straight. This guy can't even give advice without quoting advertising. His emotional depth is non-present. No wonder he lost his son. No wonder men are in trouble. We are constantly encouraged to deny all forms of emotional intimacy and depth, to not look inside, to not try to fix, to not try to get better. We are told to just buy consumer items that project our masculinity, to feed the multinational corporations, just keep feeding them our money so they can sell us back the image that we have, that we are actually men. How many Harley Davidson hats does it take to make a man? The answer is fucking zero. You take care of your family, you grow and you become a better person. You have done it, everybody. Congratulations. I don't care. You could be wearing a tutu. It doesn't matter. The hat's not going to save you, everybody. The chewing tobacco is not going to save you. The guns aren't going to save you. The macchiatos aren't going to save you. Nothing's going to save you. Nothing you can buy is going to save you. Nothing you can buy can make you a man. And we have a whole story of a man who's trying to communicate to his nephew, trying to save his everlasting soul and life. And all he can say is, be like Skoal. And it's so well produced, you don't even notice it. Then this guy cuts the story. Uncle Joe says, said, "That's enough of that," threw a back strap on a hot black cast of iron skillen with some dales. So he's talking about actually cooking up some of the deer right there. That's enough of that. That's as much as I could get to. Listen, the advice that I'm going to give you that you're going to carry with you forever is be like a truck and a rock and murderous tobacco and a gun and a Belgian gun. So just be all those things. This is enough talking. I wish I could have told my son this advice. Maybe he wouldn't have got into all that mess. While I was half beer drinking and half clear thinking to myself, yeah, he was old school as hunting in a flannel. Took him with me in a slap middle of the rut. I was trying to get me one for the mantle, but I left with something better in the truck. Did you, Morgan? Did you leave with something better? Is what was modeled for you actually useful? Or is what was modeled for you the end? Like the actual, like, that's it. This is not intimacy. This is not real intimacy. This is stunted intimacy for men who are told not to be vulnerable and listen. Men who are told to constantly mediate their existence through consumer goods produced by multinational corporations to sell them their own dream of masculinity back to them. He's saying he left with something better in the truck. Morgan was left with nothing. Nothing but corporate platitudes. So I think this song is interesting because what he actually says in the song, this song is putting forth the idea that Uncle Joe is correct. All right? You're not supposed to think it's this deep, I don't think. I don't think it's meant as satire. I think you're supposed to leave going, whoa, that's really clever. Oh my God, did he say like a rock like Chevy? Oh, bro, I remember that. Oh, deep, man. Oh, sweet. You gotta have the meat like Arby's. Yeah, man, awesome. You gotta have baby back ribs like Chili's. Yeah, like you're supposed to have that emotion. But I prefer to read it as a kind of satire that the song is actually about the failure of patriarchy and the way that patriarchy will continue to fail. And that the model upon which this man has based his life has led to the death of his son. If you like what you see, smash like bucket, subscribe. Was this not the best video on YouTube about Morgan Wallen? You put a link in the comments because I'm not in that space. I'm not in the country space. So you tell me if there's a better video out here about Morgan Wallen than what I just did to describe that song. I'm not going to go through the rest of the album. All right, there you go. So there's my analysis. Again, if you want to watch the whole video, I'll include a link to it. It'll pop up in a little box right here on YouTube. I really want to emphasize something I said in the longer version, which is I hate the YouTube videos that are like, I did all of this, so you don't have to. I hate that kind of dismissive crap. I hate the kind of smug dominance it implies over music and how it tries to transmit that dominance onto people who haven't even done the work to appreciate or not appreciate the thing that they're being smug about. So there you go. I think you should listen to Morgan Wallen. I think you should get to know who he is and what his music is like. And maybe you'll discover, like I did, it's actually pretty fun to listen to. It's pretty well-made music. All right, cool. So watch the whole video if you want. It's in 2 parts. If not, tell me what you think of this. Don't use tobacco products, kids. There's the camera.